Hey there, once again, it's Daniel. This is Drummer Daily, and I am pumped that you've chosen to spend a few minutes with me today to talk all about drumming, becoming a professional drummer, becoming a better drummer, or just to hanging out and listen to my beautiful baritone voice. Hey, so last week I was hanging out with a drummer friend of mine, and he's from out of town, not from around here, and he mentioned something about how he's in a few different bands. And he talked about how he's struggling to make the transition from just being in the bands to maybe getting paid professionally, so switching over to start charging for his drumming. And I had a few questions for him, and I thought these would be fun questions or fun ideas to think about. If you're looking to maybe move towards charging for your drumming, whether you're recording at home in a home studio, or maybe somewhere that has professional studios, or you're looking to become start doing some gigs around town, or whatever it is. If you're looking to make some money playing drums, and you're already kind of playing drums with other people, but you want to make the switch to where you're charging them or they're willing to pay you for it, I thought this episode would be a good one for you. So let's just take a step back, and this may not be a very long episode. These are just kind of things, food for thought for you to chew on. This friend of mine that I was talking to, he said, hey, I really want to switch over to start charging for my drumming. I'm already in all these bands. I'm involved in my music scene. And I just am having a hard time justifying to other people, at least in my own mind, I'm having a hard time justifying why they would want to pay me. And that was all he said. And I said, well, let's kind of tease that question out a little bit. Let's kind of fill in the gaps here with that question. So the question was, why would anyone really want to pay me for drumming? And that's normally not the whole question. You might say that out loud. Someone might say that to you, or you might ask yourself that question, but there's actually more to that sentence that normally gets cut off. The rest of what I think is actually being said in those situations is, why would anyone pay me to play drums when they can pay somebody else, or they can either pay somebody else who's better than me, or they can get somebody else to play for them for free? And those two parts of the question, those are two additions to the question, are things that need to be addressed and talked about. Because I think a lot of people, a lot of drummers are just going along, doing their own thing, and all of a sudden they just one day want to get paid for what they've been doing. Like now I've been doing it for free for so long, now I want to get paid for it. And I actually don't think that that's the way to go about it. Because the reality is what those questions explain, which is there are other people probably willing to do it for free, and or there might be people who are better or more suited to the job who could get paid for it instead of you. And I don't think necessarily that means they're a better drummer. They might just be better suited to the job. Anyway, normally that's kind of the way we go about things though, is we say, all right, I'm doing this thing and I just want to get paid now. I want to flip a switch and start getting paid for this thing I'm doing. And that can work, but most of the time, do you run into the question of, again, why would I pay you when I can get somebody else in this music scene, this other guy who's a drummer, he's still playing for free. So what I told my friend and what I would suggest to you is you got to start looking for, what will set you apart? And it might be your playing. It might be that you are just more organized. It could be that you just carry yourself in a more professional way. It could be as simple as you always show up on time. You're always polite. You don't show up and drink a lot on the gig or whatever if you're playing at a bar or whatever. You are a leader. There are a lot of other qualities about being a welcome professional paid musician that don't have anything to do with playing. And a lot of those other qualities are plenty to set you apart from everyone else. So, but you got to ask yourself the question, what am I doing above and beyond what everybody else is doing that's doing it for free? What am I doing to justify charging for my drumming, or charging for my services as a professional drummer, and all that entails outside of just playing? If you can't answer that, or you don't have something you can point to and say that I'm this or I'm that, or I'm more, like I said, maybe more organized or more professional behaving, whatever that is, if you can't answer that, then you're not ready to start charging for your drumming. The first step before you start charging for your drumming is to establish yourself and all of those qualities about you as something that everyone who hires you gets. You've got to basically establish your value above and beyond the free guys in order to justify it. Basically, you don't need to, it can seem like a chicken or the egg kind of thing, but really it's not that complicated. You will not get paid to drum until you are doing something that is worth more than free. So you've got to do those things first. And then once people get to know that's what you represent and that's what you bring to the table, then you'll get paid to drum. You cannot say, pay me to play drums, and then I promise you, once you start paying me, I'll start doing all these other things to prove to you that it was worth it. You cannot ask somebody else to risk their money on you deciding later on to be a professional. You've got to be a professional and do as much as you can to show other people who might hire drummers that there isn't much risk in hiring you, because you are consistent, you are reliable, and they know what they're going to get, and it's worth more than what the guys who don't charge for it, it's worth more than what those guys bring to the table. So that's the big thing you got to do before you start charging for drumming, is start doing things that are worth charging for, which means doing more than what the guys who do it for free do. So that's your little nugget of wisdom, or hopefully wisdom, or my version of it for today. Thank you for joining me on Drummer Daily, and we'll get together again really soon for more of this fun world of drumming and talking all about it. Bye for now.